Let's get started here. For those of you joining us here on the show and getting ready for the holidays, this is not a story to get you in the holiday spirit. Nonetheless, sports betting story that kind of went sideways a couple of weeks ago. Chauncey Billups, you may be familiar with him, pled not guilty to the charges of wire fraud conspiracy and money laundering conspiracy for his alleged involvement in those rigged poker games that apparently existed, that the FBI has indicted him for. If convicted, the charges carry a maximum of 20 years in prison. Billups was released on $5 million bond and also put up his home in Colorado as collateral, no longer involved in coaching, at least for the time being, until this gets resolved in the NBA. Meanwhile, Kalshi's latest move in California, they're filing a motion for an injunction for a stay and pending appeal in the Nevada federal case by 5 p.m. Eastern, out of concern that Nevada may seek to commence civil or criminal enforcement proceedings against Kalshi once the court dissolves its preliminary injunction. A couple of weeks ago, a federal judge granted Kalshi a win, rejecting the idea that the tribes in California said that they were a sports betting operation, so they at least get to operate in California for the time being, and expect a lot of other states to follow suit here. They're going to be in for a battle this year and next year as well. All right, not much of a battle on Monday Night Football last night. Let's just call it what it was. The San Francisco 49ers gave the Carolina Panthers a lot of opportunities. Brock Purdy threw 3 interceptions in this game, but Carolina's offense just couldn't get going. Very inconsistent all season long. Christian McCaffrey facing his former team. That was the story in the 20-9 win. 89 rushing yards, 53 receiving yards, and a touchdown. Purdy, as I mentioned, threw a touchdown to Jawan Jennings. Other than that, not very good. 3 interceptions. And naturally, Carolina has just been so up and down on offense all season. It's kind of hard to figure out who exactly they are. McCaffrey, after the game, big win for him, and obviously reminisced on his time with the Panthers.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to playing in the league, you have to approach each week as similar as possible, stay in your routine. You can't get too far outside of what's normal for you. And so I tried to do that. And obviously, when you see familiar faces, it's always good to see them before the game and after the game. But that's a completely new team than when I was there. So it's really just business once the ball snapped.
Just a game of missed opportunities. Our defense was putting us in some great situations, with the interceptions and not coming away with points. Having an interception on one of those things really hurt us. Some basic things, a couple of penalties put us in long drives, a drop on third down. Really just comes down to fundamental execution and things that, I felt like we're moving in the right direction. But we didn't take that step today that I was looking for, collectively as a group. And the defense battled and they kept us in it, gave us some opportunities there. And then we turned it over again at the end with an opportunity to make the game close there at the end.
Not a bad year for the Panthers, but that may have sealed their fate as far as the playoffs are concerned. Also, Christian McCaffrey, by the way, leads the NFL in receptions this season. That I was not aware of. I probably should have. He's on one of my fantasy teams. This weekend, Tampa Bay Buccaneers got to be holding their breath a little bit to see if Baker Mayfield can play. His MRI showed no additional damage to that left shoulder that he hurt against the Rams, but still TBD for the weekend. No longer TBD is Joe Burrow. He's going to play on Thanksgiving Day for the Cincinnati Bengals. It's a Thursday night game. Zach Taylor said, well, we'll see just to be sure, but it looks like all systems go.
I anticipate him playing, but we'll continue to work through the week. I'm not going to declare that definitively. Work through the week, coming off an injury. He's done everything he could. He put himself in a position to do his best to play yesterday. And we'll continue with that mindset, but he looks like he's in good shape right now to be ready to go. I mean, really, last week it just fell because of it was easier for us to handle, because Joe Flacco has been limited in practice, and so his schedule had been conducive to Burrow coming in there and taking all the snaps. So it didn't throw anything off kilter because that had been our routine previously. He just took a bunch of reps that Jake Browning had been taking when Flacco was out. So from that perspective, it worked out well. We were able to balance that without disrupting anything, and now you'll go into these walkthrough reps, which is really what we're doing the next 2 days. So it's nothing physical, walkthrough mental reps and getting everybody ready to go play.
The Browns have rewarded Shedeur Sanders with another start coming up for the Browns this Sunday. Meanwhile, the Minnesota Vikings may have to turn to their third-string quarterback, Max Brosmer, coming up on Sunday, as J.J. McCarthy reported issues on the flight back from Minnesota. He's in concussion protocol. Here's the latest from head coach Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah, no, we, obviously with the independent, a couple independents and the medical staff and everything, there was not one particular, we're, looking into it as I know we all will. It had to be late, based upon kind of how the game went. But no, there wasn't one where I think even JJ can pinpoint as of right now.
I know you'll have to go through the week kind of figuring out how things go for JJ, but do you go in assuming Max Brosmer gets ready to start?
Yeah, I think it's probably too early to tell that, Ben. As far as, with the quarterbacks not really taking contact in practice in the different phases of the protocol, I think we got to just take it a day at a time.
One of the big stories of the week, of course. We'll see who starts there. All right, let's get to college basketball. Tough start of the season for St. John's. They lose to Iowa State last night, 83-82. Iowa State 2.5-point favorites. Joshua Jefferson had 17 points and 8 assists. It was St. John's having the ball late, not being able to come through on the final shot. So Rick Pitino naturally not happy with the outcome.
Well, it was another tough game for us. You play this type of schedule, you're going to be in tough games. The effort was great. The play was terrific. We just, with the game on the line, we just didn't come up with the rebounds necessary to put the other team away. But that's a credit to their incredible crashing of the offensive glass. So we take the loss because we couldn't come up with the rebounds. Unfortunate that we lost another good game.
Gonzaga takes care of business against Alabama, 95-85, and Seton Hall had the upset of the night. They beat number 23 NC State 85-74 in the Maui Invitational. Don't look now, but the hottest team in the NBA remains the Detroit Pistons. How about this? 13 straight wins as they beat the Indiana Pacers by a final of 122-117. That's a franchise record for Detroit with all of those championships and winning. How about that? Cade Cunningham, 24 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists. And J.B. Bickerstaff seemingly not satisfied enough with 13 wins in a row.
Yeah, I mean, again, I would like for us to be greedier. I felt like in that fourth quarter and even in the third quarter, we let our guard down defensively. We allowed them to make a run. And, again, I'll keep saying it. Like, our defense is our identity. That's when we're at our best. In that second half, we weren't great defensively. And that's the mindset we have to have. Like, the mindset has to be, we can't ever feel full or satisfied because, every team you play, they've got talent, they've got guys, they've got champions over there. So we got to do a better job, just sticking with it and being who we are, being greedy for 48 minutes.
Guess who got another triple-double in the NBA? I'll give you a hint. You're looking at him right there, and it's not me. Nikola Jokic had 17 points, 16 assists, 10 rebounds. Does this every night already. 125-115. Nuggets beat the Grizzlies. The Knicks beat the Nets 113-100. Karl Anthony Towns had 37 points, and the Nets are chasing down the number one overall lottery pick probably. And by the way, the Heat has won 5 games in a row. They beat the Dallas Mavericks 106-102. Tyler Hero had 24 points in his season debut. Also a trade in Major League Baseball. Sonny Gray of the St. Louis Cardinals has been traded to the Boston Red Sox for Richard Fitz and another prospect as well. Big story from this. Cardinals are going to send $20 million as part of the deal.